In 2007, mega popular stripper Ramona Vega takes her club's newest dancer, Destiny, under her wing and gives her a crash course in how to curry the better prices from the Wall Street executives that frequent the club. Unfortunately, the good times come to an end thanks to the economic collapse of 2008, and the girls have to take a different angle with their clients. So the girls begin drugging corporate executives to take them to the club and rack up large bills on their credit card. And because the execs don't want to mention that they were at a strip club, they're willing to cover up the charges if need be. However, the high times won't always last, and even the best hustler sometimes gets hustled. This is Hustlers. So, okay, basically the big motif of this movie is we kind of jump around through the years. Like, the story starts in 2007, just before the economic collapse in 2008, obviously. And we see this kind of year going through where Constance Wu's character is named Destiny, but sometimes she's also referred to as Dorothy. So, yeah, you might hear me mixing the names up sometimes. Jennifer Lopez is Ramona, is pretty much Ramona all the way through. Kiki Palmer plays a girl named Mercedes, and Lily Reinhart plays Annabelle. And that's kind of the only ones I can really remember the names of. There's a few other ones, like Lizzo is in the movie, Cardi B is in the movie, but I don't remember their character names, unfortunately. During these kind of high times at the first club, there's actually a moment where Usher comes to the club, and all the girls basically rush the stage to strip for him. It's actually kind of a funny bit. And they talk about how there's like a tiered system with the Wall Street types. Like, there's the entry-level guys who, you know, they're willing to spend a little money, but they're not going to spend a lot of money, and so you don't have to woo them too much or do it. Just, you know, be nice to them, and, you know, maybe they'll pay a little bit more here and there. You know, and then there's the mid-level, the middlemen, the middle bureaucrats, and most often than not, they're married and they have kids, so they're not, again, like, they're probably just going to do the general thing. They're not going to go off for like a private lap dance at all or anything like that because they don't want to get into too much trouble. And then there's, you know, the higher ups, the corporate executives and the corporate raiders and the, you know, the Jordan Belforts of the world. You get the idea there. You know, the guys who will snort the cocaine and just, you know, go through, they'll order drinks, they'll order lap dances, they'll run their credit cards over and over and over again and charge up the big bills. And of course the club takes a bit of a cut of that, you know, and if you're one of the girls who doesn't make much, you know, you wind up making even less because of that. And so, you know, you start to get, and just before the big economic collapse happens, Dorothy, Destiny, finds out she's pregnant, and she kind of leaves for temporarily and to Arizona to have her baby, which is a daughter, and the relationship with the father falls apart, and she kicks him out, and she comes back to New York City. She starts stripping again, but again, now thanks to the economy collapsing, things have changed. The club had to fire a lot of its employees, and they took the security, to save on costs, they took security cameras out of the champagne room, so now the clients that are there and are not the highest ranking individuals in the world are now a little more demanding, if you catch my drift. And one of them tries to offers Destiny a $300 to perform an act, and after she does it, she realized the guy gave her $320s. So you do really get kind of the stark contrast of how, you know, a stripper's lifestyle really is. It really does not glamorize it at all, but it doesn't completely condemn it either. Like, it shows, again, if you know what you're doing, you can make a good living at this. And it's here that they start working the angle of, again, where basically they send one person out to a bar, and then they'll follow through, and as they're doing that, they'll drug the drink. It's a combination of ketamine and MDMA, because it makes them aware enough that they want to go to the strip club, they want to have some fun, they like, you know, they're happy, but it also kind of wipes their memory so they don't really remember anything that's going on. And, you know, when they call about the charges, they said, hey, you know, you were having fun, you said it was great, you know, there's nothing we could really do about it, you charged it, you were there, you were lucid, you signed all the receipts and everything. And again, because these guys don't want to, you know, get caught going to a strip club, they basically just cover everything up. And they start to expand a little bit. They put out, at one point, they talk, like, so the other part of the motif is we then jump to 2014, and Destiny is being interviewed by this reporter played by Julia Stiles, and then we kind of harken back to the other events that go through everything. And you kind of start seeing how, yeah, again, it starts to work out, and then it kind of starts to fall apart a little bit. The club then hires other women who will offer a little bit less of a cut to do the same thing, so the girls strike out on their own. Unfortunately, the clients only go so far, and again, they have to start attracting bad clients. When they expand again, they wind up bringing in people who are drug addicts, people who are common criminals who have done jail time. And that's not the best one, because they are also the first person to rat on you if you do something wrong. And you start to see how it all begins to fall apart. And kind of through this, we sort of learned that Ramona and Destiny have fallen apart, that they haven't been talking to each other, and shock of shocks. Eventually, all the credit card fraud winds up getting them arrested, and Destiny takes a plea deal, and that kind of drives the final wedge. I guess the one thing I would also mention is Jennifer Lopez's Ramona is also a single mother, so that's another thing that sort of bonds her and Destiny, or Dorothy, together, to the point that they fight, but they still kind of be friends. Dorothy is also trying to support her grandmother, and then her grandmother dies, and Ramona comes to the funeral and actually covers a lot of the charges and stuff like that. So again, you get the idea that they're friends, and even when Destiny takes the deal, Ramona basically says, "I understand why you did this, but I'm angry at you, and don't contact me again." But she still thinks, of her, but later we get it kind of, like I said, the reporter says, even a year after the report is filed, it's 2015 at that point, Dorothy calls, the reporter and says, "Hey, what did Ramona say?" She says, "You should really talk to her, because she still thinks highly of you, and she still thinks of you as basically a sister." And you don't quite get the idea that they maybe reconnected, but you get the idea that maybe they did or maybe they didn't. Like, this is based on a true story. It was a report in I think it was Wall Street Journal or Forbes about it. So yeah, overall, Hustlers it's pretty good. There's some points where the film drags. I will say this, performance-wise, pretty much all of the actresses are pretty good in this. Wu and Lopez in particular definitely bolster this up. They are, you completely understand the angle that they're coming from. Lily Reinhardt's character, Annabelle, I didn't really talk too much about her, but because she's very minor in the terms of things, but you understand her angle too, which is, she's the only daughter of her family, and they find out she's stripping, and they kicked her out, and she's alone, and so she's perfect to kind of join in on this and make a little bit extra money. And Kiki Palmer's character, her boyfriend slash fiance, is in jail, and so she needs to be able to support herself. And the girls try to go straight sometimes to get some retail jobs and stuff like that, but it's like, retail won't cover for their kids, won't do this, so they basically go back to stripping because they make more money that way. And again, you understand that, but it also shows, again, the downside. Like I said, the champagne room scene. So you kind of, like I said, it does a good job of showing the highs and the lows. Like, the downside is the plot drags at some points. It just drags. Like, in the middle of the movie, like, you could tell this is supposed to be like, this is the nadir. This is the best things can be since they've started this basically credit card fraud ring. And like, it's the nadir, it's Christmas, they're all getting these great gifts, and they're all enjoying it, and the party just keeps going on and on. It's like, okay, we get it. We know it's going to all fall apart after this. Just get to the falling apart scene. And it's like, and even then, like, the falling apart scene goes on it starts taking way too long before the cops turn out. And there's some weird stylistic choices in this too, because the guy who basically reports the ring he's this single guy named Doug. Basically, he's just had this terrible run of luck. Like, his house burns down, his marriage dissolves, he loses custody of his autistic son, and it's just all terrible. And when they take his credit card, they don't take his ordinary credit card. They take his corporate credit card, and it gets him fired. And he has to pay the company back. And he says, "No, I can't afford to do this. You need to clear this up with the company. You can't." And he records it. And when they say, "Could you tell me about Doug?" And then they say the last name, but it's bleeped out. Like, I'm not joking. They bleep it out in the middle of the film. And it's like, if you don't want to use the dude's real name, just make something up. Call him like Doug Boberson or something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the guy's real name, but yeah, if you don't want to use the guy's real name, just make something up. Like, why would you bleep it? And there's other points too where it's like soundtrack drops out in the middle of it, and it's played entirely in silence, and it's like, okay. Like, I thought there was something wrong with the speakers a couple of times. It's like, at one point, Destiny gets upset. She calls off the interview. She turns off the digital recorder the reporter has. And you can tell she's saying, like, "Get out, please. I can't talk about this. Just leave." And it's like, it's just played in dead silence. And then it picks back up when the door slams. It's like, okay, why did you do that? But overall, I'd say Hustlers is a very enjoyable film. It gets a B.
I'm Brendan Serve, the Atlanta Hawks, inviting you down to the Omni for U.S. Army Sports Bag Night. The Hawks will be battling the Indiana Pacers Saturday, November 17th, and the first 3,000 people, 19 and under, attending the game will receive a sports bag free, compliments of the U.S. Army. At 6 p.m., I will conduct a basketball clinic. Georgia Olympians, including University of Georgia grad Vern Fleming, will be honored at halftime. Join us for the Hawks Pacers, Saturday, November 17th on Sports Bag Night, sponsored by the U.S. Army.
Okay, so trailer time, we didn't really get too much. We didn't get anything new, actually. It's basically a bunch of the same ones again. Black Christmas again, we got that one last week. 21 Bridges, a film I swore came out. I can't remember how many times this thing's been pushed back. I think now it's coming out the same week as Frozen 2. So yeah, obviously whoever's distributing this film really has no hopes for it. Zombieland Double Tap again. Black and Blue again, Joker again, and then Queen and Slim again. That's the one about the new generation Bonnie and Clyde, the young African-American couple who accidentally kills a police officer, and shenanigans ensue. I have to kind of constantly remind myself what the title is. This is one where I was like, I know the movie, and I can't remember its title. Like, Queen and Slim, I just don't think seems to work very well for it. Black and Blue is that's the movie about the rookie, also African-American police officer who witnesses some dirty cops with her body cam, and so they are coming after her because of that. So, yeah, that pretty much settles things. So, next movie review is going to be Rambo Last Blood. Hopefully. It had some shenanigans this week. Wasn't entirely sure I was going to make it. Hopefully I can. Anyway, next video is going to be the recap and review for Clash of Champions. Then we'll probably do the first live NXT show, since that's debuting on USA. It would be kind of nice to maybe cover that. And then, rounding things off, we'll have the random trade review on the Volume 1 of Judd Winnick's Outsiders. See you all next time. Hey guys, check out my Patreon and see how you can request a movie for me to review, even if it's some stinker like A Dog's Way Home or the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Also, if you like what you see, give the video a like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell.